This city has stories, and so do we. It's not just a podcast, it's a movement. Real stories, real people, real purpose. Real purpose. Pull up a seat, get comfortable. Let's talk purpose, pain, growth, and everything in between. From the heart of Atlanta to wherever you are, welcome to Stool Talk. Let's walk it out in purpose together. So today with us on Stool Talk, we're honored to have a special guest. This one I've been trying to get for a long time, and the reason we do these interviews, the reason we do this podcast is to highlight journey of creators, athletes, people out there that's just making a difference, impacting the lives of people. And this guest right here, I've seen him and his brand all over, and I said, man, this guy is doing an amazing thing. I gotta find out, who's behind that machine, man, because it's all about the spotlighting of them. When you can't find the person exactly and see who's behind what, you know that they're doing it out of their heart and for the athletes or for the people or for the brand. Today we have with us the one, the only Mr. Gerald Cannon for Ballers Bridge. How you doing today?
That's love, bro. That's love. I appreciate it. That's love.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. So yeah, man. I seen all the work. I see the work that you put in. Like, man, what really drives you behind what you do?
Man, I think just experience is what drives me. You know what I'm saying? I think just the path that it took for me to get to where I am today is what really pushes me to keep going, bro. To be honest with you, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. What was sports like with you growing up? I know you played sports. What sports did you play and how far did you go?
Man, to be honest, man, I was a late bloomer, man. I didn't start till late. We was always playing around the neighborhood. I always had my homeboys that we played everything in the neighborhood. I started out with baseball, Redan Park. We was at the baseball. Mom got me into baseball, which I think was actually a great sport to start with. So I started baseball. And then basketball, man, we was just always hooping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Neighborhood at the courts around the house, but it wasn't never anything that I was playing on an official team. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
got cut, to be honest. I got cut. What was that? That was like eighth or ninth grade. I got cut, and I was like, I'm good, bro. That was just too much for me. You go
Yeah.
to that door, you look for your name ain't on that list.
Uh-huh. Right.
Crushing. You know what I'm saying? Crushing. So I shut it down after that. I was like, oh, I'm straight. I ain't never going through that again. But luckily, they had a coaching staff change at my high school. The new coach came in and he basically tracked me down, bro. He seen me outside one day. He was like, I want you to come to the gym tomorrow for trials. I was like, I don't really hoop like that. He was like, I ain't really asking you. You know what I'm saying? Like, be there
Yeah.
tomorrow. I say, they saved my life, bro. Coaching staff saved my life up there.
Do you ever talk to the athletes that you may interview or highlight or follow just about the being a late bloomer, and what can you tell the athletes that may be watching about late bloomers, or sometimes it might not start off how they want it but to stay in it so they don't give up?
Yeah, all the time, bro. I try to give advice because I think I'm doing what I'm doing because I was in that position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Never like a highly ranked player. Not even, to be honest, I never was the best player on my team. You know what I'm saying? Not until pros. When you go overseas and you got to be the best player on the team. But high school, I wasn't the best player on the team. College, I wasn't the best player on the team. So I have empathy for that, for those players that are in that position.
Yeah.
Because and two, I look at it like you never know. When I'm filming, when I'm covering a game, yeah, that player might be the most talented player in the gym today, but look 2, 3 players down, and that's gonna be the one, that's gonna make it because of their experience. So I try to tell all the players, man, stay even keel, stick with it, ignore the noise and just trust in yourself, man, and put the work in. So I try to deliver that message as often as I can, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Did you see in college or when you played professional, did you see yourself creating a media thing like this or following it or being behind the scenes like that? Did you think that, or is that when the thoughts came together?
It's when the thoughts came together because I was just tired of it. You know what I'm saying? I think when people build something, when you look at a lot of people's companies, regardless of the industry, and you ask them like, "What made you do this?" It's probably because of something that they experienced in that industry. I would assume. You know what I'm saying? That they got sick of. They just got so tired of it and was just like, "Man, this shouldn't be like this." And they said, "I'm gonna correct it. I'm gonna fix it." And that's kind of was my experience at every level. I just ran into potholes that I was like, man, this shouldn't be here. You know, high school with recruiting, it was me and my mom who were going through the process together. And me and my mom, man, we was thick as thick. That was my one, bro. We never got into it over nothing. But when it came down to that college decision, man, it was I'll never forget it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, in college, going trying to make the jump to pros to be a pro. It was just coming from a Division II HBCU, playing at Morehouse College. We had a great team. We did great things, but trying to make that jump to be a pro when you're not a Division I, highly sought after school. Internationally, when they're evaluating who should they bring over, who are they going to make their investment in, should I go after this D2 kid or should I go after somebody who's at, even if it's a mid major, Western
Yeah.
Kentucky or, Eastern Michigan? I think I'm gonna go because they D1. So it was a battle with that, and then being overseas and making the transition from team to team. If you're in Japan and you're in Asia and you're playing in Asia, now you're trying to go and play and get into Europe. How do you go about doing that? And in that whole process, picking it's just a mess, bro. So that's just throughout the whole process. I was just like, okay, that needs to be fixed. That's too tough. That's difficult, and that's what drove me to build Ballers Bridge.
Yeah. And when you created Ballers Bridge, what does that name represent? Like what's the meaning behind that? Why did you choose that?
Man, bridge was important to me because of the connection piece.
That's
Again,
dope.
feeling like there were a lot of broken pieces along the way, along the journey, and it should be something that connected, and it not just be something in the states. It be something that was more of a global kind of a thing, where it didn't matter if it was a player in high school or a player that was again FIBA overseas or wherever. There needed to be some better connections that were made. And then ballers was just something that I felt like it didn't just apply to basketball. It applied to anybody who was playing sports. We all ballers, we all putting in work. So I
Yeah.
didn't feel like it just limited to basketball. Basketball was a sport I was familiar with, but when I would go again play overseas, and my team, we had a volleyball team, and I was looking at what the girls volleyball players were going through, and it really didn't matter. Football and looking at what the football players go through, it's not sport specific. So I wanted to be something that was could include everyone.
Yeah. How did your brand evolve from when you first started until now, and how is it continuously evolving?
That's a good question, bro. I started in 2012, man. So,
Wow.
you know, I really been at this for a long time. 2012, when I started here in Atlanta, it was just, um, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it happen. And everything was different. It's hard to just put like one thing to like what was different because I felt like everything was different. There was no social media. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
there is no videos on Instagram. There is no people standing under basket filming at games. There is no just technology is just so far past where we were in 2012. It's totally different, bro. Everything is different. Even
Even
access to cameras.
yeah.
Seeing I'm just it blows my mind still when a 14, 15, 17, 18-year-old kid is standing next to me in the gym with a $5,000 camera. It's just like, bro, where did you get that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I wanted this for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not a thing, bro. And it's
Yeah.
amazing because it's really cool that they are getting that kind of experience that young when they are my age or half my age, they're gonna be crazy, and what they created. So it's really cool to see, and it's a totally different landscape. NIL, like we were always talking about players getting paid, players being able to make money off their likeness. I knew as a college athlete how much work that we put in. There was never an internship that we could get. There was never. We just so limited because everything was just hoop, bro. It's
Yeah.
hoop or nothing. Um, but we always knew that. And now to see players be able to actually make money, to be able to not just change their own lives, but change, their families' lives, their community. It's amazing, bro. We just scratching the surface. So totally different landscape.
Do you remember the first athlete or first couple athletes that you had?
In terms of like going out and covering,
Yeah,
or what would you say?
yeah,
Like who was the
going
top
out and
guy at that time?
yeah. Who was you going out and covering? Like the first person that you did anything with your brand?
The first players. Um, yeah, I think if we're talking about big players, definitely locally. There were some guys that was local who we were covering, who were doing well. We would go up to Swanee. A lot of the guys again who are successful in the space now. You see um, like a Jalen Brown. Seeing Jalen very early on and seeing him, sit in the stands and watching him as a high schooler and just how easy the game was for him. I think like guys like Jaleel Okafor, those guys were like number one in the class at that time, very early on. Those are some of the earlier guys that I can kind of think of. That's a good question, though. It
Oh.
feels like ages ago.
Right. Who? What do you look for when you decide into which interview to go after, which athlete, what events you want to cover? What do you look at when you decide that?
That's a good question too. I think for all the athletes, man, I think one thing is important is like your body language. Even if it's not going well, how do you play through that? Nobody's gonna have a good game every game. Nobody, unless you just like super, super out of talented. But even the super talented five stars, they have bad games, but they mask it well because of how hard they play, things that they do to make up for maybe not scoring at the time, or maybe they got dunked on. It's a lot in the body language of how that player plays and how they deal with the adversity during the game. That makes me say, okay, that player right there has a chance, to kind of break through the noise and break through the crowd, and they seem like they're really locked into what they're doing, and that makes me want to work with them, whether it be in a game setting, in a workout setting. You can see, and you can kind of identify who are the ones that are really serious about it, and who are the ones that are just kind of going through the motions at times.
Yeah. How do you balance like with the athletes to capture the five stars, the under the radar? Is it just the communication that you have with them, the connection, or you might just say, let me look at this athlete, let me go after that. How do you decide which ones, or how do you go after the different athletes that you may interview?
Mm, I kind of again for me it's I film the games. I go to events that I know and I know do a good job. People that do a good job. I think in Atlanta it's kind of a cheat code. They make it easy here
Yeah.
because there are so many events happening. And this is my hometown, so you kind of know the people who are behind it, and they've been doing it for years. So you know it's going to be a good event. They're going to bring in the best. A lot of times when I go film a game, I film the game. I'm more so making sure we get the best shot, and that the highest level quality is captured, of that team, of the players that's out there. I think the real work begins when you come home and you start dissecting the film. When you really start going through clip by clip and really watching who's out there and what's happening. That's when I can kind of start seeing a lot more. How did the player move through that screen? How did the player, again, what were they doing off the ball? Those things that I can't really see all the time at a game just because there's so much going on that I really like the part of it. and being able to dissect it, and then I can start to say, okay, this player right here, and now I'll start going to maybe one or two other games, just kind of make sure they are who I think they are.
Yeah, and what keeps you motivated? You got family life, you got work, you got this. You still got to deal with yourself and, have the time that you enjoy yourself and do things that make you grow. How do you balance that?
That's the money question, right? That's the question I'm asking everybody every day. It's like, bro, how are we gonna balance this and do what we're doing to try to help others, but also maintain our own health and our own sanity, with everything else that we have going on around us. But man, I just really love what I do, bro. I wake up, I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to hop on again, get in the lab and kind of look at the film from yesterday. I can't wait to get to the game and see the matchups and
Yeah,
see how this player plays against that player. I can't wait to turn on the game and see what Caleb is doing at North Carolina or see what Haley Swain is doing at Stanford in their games after watching them in a high school game last year and then seeing,
yeah.
what they're doing now. I can't wait to get to a Hawks game and see Muhammad Gay, who I saw, 10th grade, ninth grade, and then now you playing for the Hawks. So, seeing him in that environment and knowing it's just fun, bro. It's just fun.
What's the guy name that plays for the Spurs? He just got his jersey retired from I don't know if it was Newton or Noonan. I don't know if they played him last year, but he number 5 or something. Is it Castle or something?
Yeah,
Ain't he
Steph
from?
Curry.
You
Yeah,
seen him play in high school?
it's a monster, bro. A
Wow.
monster. That tree of players, when you look at Jalen, Ant Man, Steph Castle, Jabari Smith, that Georgia talent tree, bro, is crazy. And then you
Yeah.
look at Caleb Wilson, you look at AJ Williams, all the boys side, but it's something in that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's something in that those players are not just having success in high school. If you see them having the success and doing what they're doing, you can kind of see it creating success when they get to the league. And Steph was like that. For me, when you watch Steph and you watch Jalen, it almost was kind of tricky because it looked too easy. So it looked like they weren't going hard, but they were just that much better. So yeah, shout out to Atlanta Express and Steph Castle and his family. They super cool. Didn't know him personally, but I was around and kind of watching how they moved, and I felt like they did it the right way.
And I asked because I work with the FCA, so I'll be over there with Pebblebrook and they boys team talking to Coach Washington, and I asked him about Colin Saxton, who he coached too as well, that's in the league, and just how he
Uh-huh.
was doing stuff, or he would just talk different stuff. So he was kind of saying the same stuff about the game. Um, is it anything that athletes need to know that will help them allow the game to come easy? Because I know fundamentals is a lot of things with these youth. As I've been seeing, watching the games and recording in different times, I'm at the game seeing like, dang, this fundamental. If they fundamentally sound, they could even have. They got 20, they can have 40. What could they do to make the game become more easier?
And I don't want to miss anybody. You know what I'm saying? Colin Sexton, Sharif Cooper, man. Sharif
Oh
is
yeah,
just a
yeah,
monster. Bro, we can go all day. But I think one thing that the players can do that I think we are, again, scratching the surface on, because kind of like I mentioned, even if you look at 10, 15 years ago, the access to film wasn't really there. And one thing that I caught up on really late, that you asked me, what do I tell players from my own experience to try to help them, is you got to watch film. I never watched film in high school. I never watched film in college. I didn't start watching film until pro level, and it was mind blowing how much of a change it made and how fast of a change it made a difference in my game, just from watching the film. Watching other players, picking 4 or 5 players where I'm like, man, Rasheed Wallace, I'm gonna start watching every move he make back to basket. I'm gonna look at what he does when he go over the right shoulder, look at what he does over the left shoulder. Tim Duncan, anybody who was kind of in my kind of 4 or 5 position, I just
yeah.
started watching everything. I just started digesting everything. Um, and then watching my own film and being like, "Gee, why would you do that? That was stupid, bro."
Yeah.
Or, bro, look at that shot. Or look, why would you do that? Or you didn't hustle back. And it made me more conscious of it as opposed to just kind of going on to the next game and being like, oh, that game's over. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not over, bro, because that habit is still there. So I really would urge players to watch game film and not just, I think for the highlights and what we do for branding and, clips that we put for recruiting is all good, but also there should be private content that's not put out socially or put out on the public for public access that you consume at home that you just watch and you say, okay, these are things that I need to grow from. That's the biggest one.
Yeah. What's the hardest shot or moment to capture during the game, in your opinion?
The hardest shot or moment to capture is them big games, bro. When everybody is side by side, you packed in, you're trying to watch out, not bump into the cheerleader. You got the cheerleading coach looking at you like you blocking my girls. You got the coach standing. You got fans. You got the whole line of media. Everybody is trying to squeeze in and get the best shot. You got the ref, coming in and standing right in front of you.
Yeah. That just happened to me yesterday. I went to see Lithonia and Southwest DeKalb. I was trying to go from one end to the exit. And this is my first time at Southwest DeKalb, so I'm used to the bigger venues that me and you. And I done seen you at that. Got the newer gyms. Them
Yeah.
cheerleaders like, you can't walk right here. You can't go past. But I couldn't go the other way. I'm like, what?
Shout out to the east side. That's
Yeah, it was a good game, man. The food up there, man, they had chicken, fish, shrimp, fries. I was like, oh yeah, it goes down. But it was a good game. It was a nice high school atmosphere, like kind of college, like rivalry type though. That's what I loved about it.
and old school, like high school, where they ain't no big crazy gym.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
on top of everybody. The energy is there. The whole neighborhood came out. Yeah, Southwest, man, they known for pumping talent, bro. They got so much
yeah.
talent. Um, yeah, those are tough. And when the gym is hot and it's packed and them lights be beaming on you, those are the
hmm
toughest ones. So yeah, that's what I say.
Yep, yep. I'm gonna get you out here on this one. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions. You either pick one or the other.
All right, let's do it.
Photo or video?
Video all day.
Sideline access or baseline access?
Sideline access or base ain't that baseline, bro. It's tough. When they coming at you, that shot is just crazy if you get the right one.
High school hoops or AAU hoops?
That's a good one too. A energy different,
Yeah.
circuit
Football
different.
Friday nights or basketball weekends?
I'll respect the football, but it's hoops all day for me.
Yeah. Action shots or emotional moments?
Action shots are emotional moments. Emotional moments. Them is the ones that live with you forever.
Yeah. Long edits or quick turnaround posts?
Long edits, man. Take your time, man. Let it cook, man.
So
Everything
let me
ain't.
ask you this real quick. Did you ever like have some content and then you see other people posting about this game and all like that? Do that make you like, oh, I gotta hurry up and get mine, or you still take your time, even if they had another game before that?
Balance, bro. Every day, every day.
Yeah,
But you gotta. I think it's gonna come down to like what are you trying to do? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I have times where it might be something where it's like, bro, I gotta. You know what I'm saying? You sometimes you want to just make sure you can do it too. Like because
yeah,
it's not easy. And much respect for people who turn around content like automatically. That's not easy, man. It's
yeah.
not easy to
Do you have a
nothing.
team?
You create content, huh?
Do you have a team or it's just you?
Oh, absolutely. You got to have a team. I've been doing it just me for a long time, but I'm blessed to really be
Yeah,
able to find some good people to work with. That's really helping me, man. I think as we continue to gel, we're gonna take Ballers Bridge to the next level. But I personally, I like to be able to again come home and be able to really look at it.
yeah,
Um, Somebody said like, "Do you listen to music or do you just skim through it?" Like, bro, you got to watch it. You got to really see it. and you got to be able to deliver what I'm trying to deliver. I can't just do it at the gym. I got to be able to look at it in a quiet setting and really be able to digest what's happening.
Yeah, that's my next phase of me going to another level, getting a team. Because I be doing it by myself, trying to work, going to 3 games, doing interviews like this. It'd be a lot. I'd be like, oh my goodness.
Like, how do you sleep and just you sacrifice a lot.
Yeah,
And again, I think at the end of the day, it's really got to be a mission, and you really got to care for what you're doing. And I'm interested to hear why you know your meaning behind what you're doing. But I'll let you finish.
yeah. Interviews or highlight reels.
Interviews or highlight reels. I think I love the highlight reels, but when you get the interview, you learn a lot more about the player. And I think that it tells you, again, how do you separate who you're watching and who you're following and who's here. Um, that game IQ is baked into that interview and hearing how a player looks at the game, hearing who they watch, hearing, those extra pieces, it all kind of factors in for me.
Yeah, early morning shoots or late night edits.
I like to be in the lab, bro. 3 in the morning, house quiet, got music playing, and you all in. That's a great place to be in.
Yeah. So the reason I do this is because I want to highlight the athlete and allow their journeys to be heard, like their what's their why they work so hard, like, and just to see the response that other people that look up to that said athlete see the response that it gives for them, and to just let them allow them to tell their story, and it's giving them prep for when they get into the big thing. Now they already interviewed, like a lot of them, this their first interview they did with me, so now when that news people come or ballers bridge come up to them, they ready, they already got it, it's experiencing them, and it's making them feel good. And then I'm encouraging them as well. We
Mm.
talk faith, we talk about different things, and understand their why. And a lot of them, as they're talking, they're explaining, and they're allowing what they learn or what they know to be heard. So that's what I feel like is a major thing. And just to hear the parents responded like, man, you know what, they're doing great after they interview, because we talk about books, we talk about life, we talk about all different type of stuff. So it ain't just that, and it ain't just the popular athletes. I get a lot of DMs and people say, well, who all do you interview? I interview with somebody that don't even get in the game, because guess what, your story will be the same.
Mm.
I played with people that I might have got more playing time than them, but later on they went to the National Football League or something like that, because they worked hard, they didn't stop, and they kept going. So, it's just every athlete got a voice, every creative got a voice, everybody that's doing something in purpose, they got a voice. So that's why I do it, in the love for sports that I have, and for people, being able to walk in their purpose.
I respect that. You seem as committed to the girls' side as the boys' side. We spoke last time I saw you was at a girls' game.
Yeah.
Why you put the effort into the girls' side as you do boys?
So this here's the thing. So it's like, and when they play each other, it kind of like, man, because I know a lot of them. So when I first started off, like doing the different interviews down here at Georgia, I started off with Georgia Queen Elise. Shout out to Coach Williams and Coach Matiga. So I interviewed their whole team.
Mm.
This is my first live. I got my wife. She got the camera. I'm interviewing the whole team. So we got all of them. So I started following them each individual through their teams and try to make their games and go like that. For the
Mm.
boys side with the FCA, I got committed and started with the football side, then with the basketball. But since it was so many of those girls on different teams, that's how I just went there. Like I go see the Pardon County, I got to see Lily, Maya, Hope, like all of them. That's
Yep.
like 4 or 5 on one team. Then I go over there. Then as it started picking up momentum, reaching out or just getting more interviews like Campbell. I went to a lot of their games last year, so now I'm just continuing to follow them, encourage them, meeting the family. So now it's like a connection, with them. And then back in my hometown, Toledo, a lot of them teams and stuff like that, interviewed them. My guy, shout out to Coach TJ Kaz in Cincinnati. He had a whole soccer team. They was really good ranked. I interviewed the whole team. So now I'm following all of them. So it just kind of going like that.
Yeah, that's how it happens too. It snowballs. But I think what you're doing and what you're doing for the athletes, and then too, like kind of where things are going with the athletes again, back to the NIL and to the opportunities that are coming their way. you're preparing them, but I think you're also preparing yourself for big opportunities because this
Yeah,
style of content is something that's going to continue to grow, and you're going to have a solid base to be able to continue to take off, bro. So much
yeah,
respect what you've been able to do for
yeah.
sure.
And it's tough because just having like opportunities, being like what it looks like, being by yourself, saying, okay, if I do this by myself, how's it gonna look? Then still having work and all that different. So it be tough, but it's like this year I said I'm going to really, do what I need to do and go on the road. Like the other day, I just went to Cincinnati. I interviewed Bria Jordan, watched her game. She like the number one middle school in the country. She's sixth grade playing up eighth. And then my childhood friend daughter plays for Coleraine High School. She's a sophomore playing varsity all league player. So I got to see both of them went on the road. And then I got Leland McField. She's in Carolina. She's in Carolina. She go to a school down there. She's about to score 2,000 points. So I'm like, let me try to do that. Then shout out to my boy Jeremy Robinson. He got the It Factor podcast. And then even like with you guys are motivating me. That's one thing I was gonna say too before we end. I appreciate you because you give knowledge, wisdom, you ask questions, or you give out like nuggets. A lot sometimes people have something, they don't tell you nothing. They don't be like, do this, do that. You ask them questions, they don't want to tell you, but it's like with you can tell that you love for what you do, and you know what I mean, you very helpful, like you got a good heart for real.
I appreciate that, bro. Likewise, that's why I wanted to do it because I could tell the same. Your energy, I think we had to feed off each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
especially people who know you only know if you know. Like you said, going to Cincinnati and doing them games and shooting back to the crib.
yeah,
And once you meet players and you make connections with their families, you feel responsible in a way to do your best,
yeah,
and to really do what you can to help them. And I think us being former athletes, bro, you know what that feel like to be in them shoes. So you
yeah.
just want to see the best for them and see them capitalize on everything they can. So it's important.
Yeah, how do you go by? Do you like register with the schools to get the access pass? Because I know, like, I got a pass to show that I'm media, but some people write me down on there. Some people see it, let me in. Some people I just pay because it's for the kids. I don't really matter. It don't really matter. But like, how do you go about as far as getting the access so you don't have to worry about it with no schools and stuff like that?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think one thing getting into the media side of things, and it's funny being on this side because I never was on this side. I never, I didn't go to school to learn media. I didn't attend classes. I just been learning as I go. And when I started, I was really disappointed in the lack of diversity that I saw in the space, and then too, kind of how the treatment, on the media side of things, and no real explanation for, nah, you can't come here, or nah, you can't, nah, this is this. It's a lot of no's. But sports industry is like that too, and I think you got to understand that, especially now, everybody's trying to, not everybody, it's a lot of people who are trying to break into the space. So there's no cut and dry. It might be one team, it might be one school where they're like, your media cool, go ahead. And
Yeah,
there might be another team where you go to and they're like, no, I don't care. Like, no, you're not coming in here with that camera, and you're not. You really don't know. So I think it's a lot of relationship. It's really relationship driven. It's being able to be good, just be a good person, speak to everybody, make them knowledgeable about what you're doing, shake hands, and come the right way.
yeah,
Be professional at all costs. And I try to do that with everything that I do, and I'm still trying to get to that place where I can get in any gym and I don't have to talk to anybody. So
yeah,
when
yeah,
you find it out, let me know. Hit me, and we'll continue to kind of toss it back and forth. But a lot of relationships, man, it just
yeah,
non-stop grinding. Because at a certain point, they keep seeing it like, bro, just go, man.
yeah.
Tired
So
of seeing you. I see you every week. Just go ahead and go.
and we thank you. We're spotlighting you. We're spotlighting Baller Bridges for all the phenomenal work that you do. You're a blessing to so many people in the state of Georgia and it's all around the surrounding cities. May God continue to give you favor. May He elevate you. May He be able to give you things and open up doors for you that no man can. That you know that is Him. That you're blessed in your finances. You're blessed in your family. That God continue to cover you. And when people see you and when they see Ballers Bridge, they're blessed by what you do. And may you be blessed for all the seeds that you have sown for all these years that you've been in this space. And I just appreciate you, and blessings to you.
Likewise, and amen. And thank you for
Yep,
allowing
yep,
me to be part of your platform, bro. This was great.
yep. Ladies and gentlemen, Ballers Bridge with Gerald Cannon.
Yes, sir.